And we are live. I have been having one of those days where you think that you're going to accomplish so much by
Mm.
the 4 o'clock in my case rolls around, and I got in the shower about 15 minutes ago, threw on the nearest things, just swabbed this stuff on. It's probably not even like
It's showing. Your lips look very glossy.
thank you. That was the one thing that I told myself. I'm gonna put on lip gloss like Amrutha. And yes, at least I can do that much. What's that one?
I'm using the Summer Fridays,
Do you like
and
that?
Mhm. It's really good. It's not very pigmented, this color at least, but I like it.
I've never tried any of their products, but I'm really curious.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is the only product of theirs that I've tried, but I like it. How are you? How is what? So life is busy. Your day's been busy.
Day's been busy. It's mostly I'm late on a story that I should have sent in yesterday, and I told myself, "Oh, I'll just get it done Tuesday morning," and then it became Tuesday afternoon, and it's almost done, but it's one of those like whatever. It's procrastination. I start writing, and then every 5 minutes I'm looking at my phone. And I'm going on Instagram for like a reward after every sentence is getting to open the app and scroll, and then I look up and 15 minutes have gone by, and I like, what is wrong with me? But that's what happens.
That's
Classic
that's
procrastination.
that's how that works. Yeah, I think writing, like I found even for my job when I have to write, it is it's the hardest part of my job because I think it requires like a level of concentration. Like so much of, at least in my work, like so much of the work I do is reactive. Like I'm responding to emails or I'm responding to something. But when I have to write, especially something that's like intense, not just like, an email, but like a few pages long kind of thing, the level of concentration that it requires, like yeah, one day we will do a discussion segment on your writing process because I find for myself, like I half the time I will have to think about it and almost have it written in my head and
Yeah.
feel the urgency of the deadline before I'm actually able to like start typing. Like it has to be like a fire has to be lit and I have to be like ready to turn it out. I never like can methodically sort of write in segments. So anyway, I have a lot of appreciation for how hard it is for you to like actually sit down and get it done by a
Yeah,
deadline.
it really is. To a large degree, it's like that with me. And actually, it reminds me of when we were in college, and you're only really going to start panicking about the thing that's due the night before you have to turn it
Exactly.
in. Right. And even then, I did all the classic, okay, I'm just going to copy and paste something and turn it into wingdings and then send it to my professor and say, "Oh my god," and when they say, "I can't open this," or "This is just gibberish," say, "Oh no, I must have gotten some kind of virus." Oh, and at that point, it's like 2 days later, and you've had time to actually do but they see through all of that, of course, so
And I think like there's just, yeah, this very natural brain tendency to like we live in such a like immediate, like fast response kind of state that it's like when you have something that's due 2 weeks out, like naturally, it's almost like your brain can only focus on one thing at a time. So then you're like, okay, that's due 2 weeks out, but like tomorrow I have this, and like this weekend I have that. And so I need to just like, once I get through those things, then I'll be able to like tackle this thing. And then lo and behold, it ends up being the night before, and you're like, oh crap. So,
yeah. Yeah, you're right. There was someone on Substack had recently written something about how to prioritize. I think her thing was, it was Becca Bloom, and she said how to prioritize when you feel awful and tired, and there's a million things you have to get done, and you only can do like 3 of them, and your brain's not like
mhm.
functioning in the way where you would normally be able to make the decisions well. If I can find it, I'll link to it, but I haven't even read the whole thing. But I it struck my eye as something that, okay, yeah, this is something that I probably need in my life.
Yeah, that ability to like prioritize. Well, anyway, I'm glad that you were able to get enough done that you could still do this today.
Of course, this is as important as anything. Tell me about your weekend.
Yes, cool thing I did. I was in New Orleans for 2 nights, with some old friends, some childhood friends, girls, women that I've known since we were girls, since we were, like, 13 or 14 years old. There were 6 of us in the group, and yeah, we've been pretty good about doing a girls' weekend most years, not always every year, for, like, the last maybe, like, 10 or 13, 14 years, so for a while now, and yeah, it had been I think we had one of the girls got married last year, so that kind of substituted the trip. But yeah, we did a trip this year. We got, whatever they say that it made it out of the group chat. We were able to find a weekend that worked for everyone. And New Orleans was a really great pick. First, because it's like pretty easy to get to, and most of us live in Texas, so it's very, quick flights for us, but also it's just such a wonderful city, and I've been to New Orleans a bunch of times, but there was still so much that I hadn't done or hadn't done in a while there, so it was really just really fun. We ate, like, such good food, at really wonderful restaurants, did a lot of walking around, caught some live music at different bars. Yeah, it was wonderful.
That's so fun. It's uh, when you're talking about 6 girlfriends and a party or a gathering actually making out of the group chat in a fun city like New Orleans, it takes some I don't I'm always just impressed when anyone actually gets on a plane or gets in the car, whatever it is, and, like, gets to a place with a group of people and does something
Yeah,
because it's these trips and travel and whatever, not to, like, go into the, like, travel is so hard these days cliche, but, it's actually so rare when stuff like that happens, or even, like, the trip
yeah.
that we did to Chicago in September, and you're present for 2 days with the people that you've known for a really long time and get to make all these new memories. It's just, as corny as it sounds, it's really special. It never
It
gets old.
is. It never and it's true, and, in this group, like, half the women are moms. All of us have, like, very busy, stressful jobs. We all have life things happening, and so there's also just something to be said about the, like, intentionality and the respect for the friendship that is shown by everyone having very busy lives saying, "We are going to block off this time to, like, get together," and it was, relatively short. Most of us were there for less than 48 hours, but just the fact that we made the time and did it was just wonderful, and like, different personalities will always come out, but there's one my friend Nina is, like, an amazing foodie kind of person, and so whenever we travel, she always takes it upon herself to, like, do the research and make the reservations, like, well in advance. Like, as soon as New Orleans got floated months ago, she was like, "Okay, these reservations have been made."
Amazing.
Which is amazing because then we have, like, reservations at restaurants that someone like me that waits until the last minute, like, wouldn't ever be able to get a spot at. And so she always, like, does that research, and, my friend Bobna is, like, very good with, like, organizing, and so she'll get everyone's, like, flights on a group, like, Google Doc and, like,
Nice.
lay out the itinerary, so, yeah, it was great. I mean, some of the highlights from New Orleans in particular, like, that just, like have you been to New Orleans?
I have actually, was this the last time? No, I went for Kanika's bachelorette party.
Okay, that was a long time
A
ago.
long, long time ago, that's yeah, like, more than 10 years ago. I was there for New Year's not too long after that, so that was also a long time ago, and I don't think I've been back since, and I really I wanna go for Jazz Fest actually, which,
Mm, mhm.
I don't think that'll happen this year, but it's usually around this time, like March, April.
Mhm. Yeah, maybe next year we should go. I've never been to that either. But the last time we did a girls trip was Kanika's bachelorette party, and that was like 15 years ago or something.
A girls
And
trip to New Orleans.
to New Orleans. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
got it.
to New
Yeah,
Orleans,
yeah.
sorry. So this is like very stark contrast, like similar to what we've talked about before. Like, we were in our late 20s, I think then, and now like we're in our early 40s. And so We did not like have any late nights out at bars that involved, shots and whatever else we got ourselves into during the Bachelorette. But in that way, it was like kind of like with Vegas. Like it was a different, like a lot of emphasis on eating really well, like going to really nice restaurants. And I just love New Orleans because it, to me, of any city in the United States, like has the most distinct culture. Like there is a style of architecture, of food, of like design and decor. Like there's such a distinct personality to New Orleans that I feel like pretty much no other city has. It feels like the city with the most like culture. Um and yeah, so it was just fun to experience it. Saw lots of like bands. The music scene is just like so incredible.
That's so cool.
We went to Frenchman Street the first night for a little bit and caught some awesome music there. And then saw a few second line like the bands in the street. So yeah, it was really great. We went to um a restaurant called Commander's Palace that I hadn't been to before, but it was just this very felt like a very southern kind of restaurant as far as like the decor. The whole thing is like kind of Tiffany blue with um very nice like garden areas, and they have like a live jazz band that comes to the table and serenades you while you eat your whatever you're eating, like rolls and breakfast foods.
Mm.
So it was great. It was great. I ate like my fair share of seafood to where when I got back, I was like, I need a break from.
Done. Need a little detox. Yeah, the food scene is so great there. I really got to go back because the time that you have when you're in your 20s and your chief intent is to get one of those hurricane drinks and like
Yeah,
have like 11 shots of whatever is in there and just stumble around for the French Quarter for the night is totally not my MO now. And I'd love to experience that as the type of traveler that we are now. And it does feel like one of those places, or it is one of those places where there's so much history, but there's also such a community of artists and
hmm
creative people who are there now too. So it's not like, okay, all of the like glory days are in the past. I feel like there's
totally.
still so much talent and passion coming out of that city now.
Yeah, it's a really vibrant city, and it's just like a very it just feels like an artist city because of the architecture, because of the music, because of the art. Like it has this flavor of like creativity that oozes out of it in a way that I don't think really any other city does. So yeah, it was great. If you haven't been to New Orleans, or you haven't been recently, or you haven't been in your 40s, or you haven't been since you did like a crazy night on Bourbon Street in your 20s, like you should go again because there's just so much to do.
Well, I will. I'm gonna have to ask after this. Ask you for some of your favorite restaurants and where you stayed and everything. So we'll put that
Yeah.
in the
Yeah.
show notes so people can use it to inspire their future New Orleans trips.
Yes, yes, definitely will have. I think everywhere we ate, and we did like the standard Cafe du Monde, like beignet. Have you had their beignets?
I have. That is
Yeah.
actually one thing that I did on one of my two visits there was
Yeah.
go to Cafe Du Monde and have
So we,
the
yeah,
beignets.
yeah. Everything we did was pretty like standard, especially for someone who hasn't been to New Orleans before. But yeah, I'll send you all of that. Tell me about your trip.
It was a delight. It was a winter wonderland. I spent the weekend at Twin Farms, which is a resort in Barnard, Vermont, that invited me to be part of an authors series that they recently launched. So this place has been around since the 1700s, I want to say, but has been operating as a hotel for I wanna say something like 50 years. Maybe I'll look that up and figure it out. But, in any case, it for a long time, it was a working farm, and then, Sinclair Lewis, who's a Nobel Prize winning novelist, bought it in, I think it was the 1920s, as a wedding present to his wife. And they would spend, she was also a writer, she was a journalist for the New Yorker and the New York Times, and they would spend these weekends at this beautiful country estate writing. And I don't know if it was operating as a farm exactly at that time, but it was just sort of like get away from the city, be in nature with their thoughts and their words. And it was all good until apparently he was a raging alcoholic and just
Mm.
had a terrible attitude. So she divorced him.
Did she get to
Kept
keep the farm?
She got to keep the farm.
Hell yeah.
And then
Okay, we love this story.
she married another man, an artist who, so the on-property historian, whose name is Brenda, was giving my mother and I a tour on Saturday afternoon and told us all of this. And it was funny. She said his art wasn't any good, but at least he did his job as a husband and father. So Dorothy got to write, and he had an art studio on the property. And the people that took it over afterwards turned it into a hotel, and they were also prominent art collectors. And the property has since changed hands again to another couple that are also art collectors. So this place basically, in addition to being a luxury hotel, has a rich history of just supporting art and artists and being a haven for that, as well as books and being creative. So it felt really, when they asked if I wanted to come out there, and like, you get to bring a guest and you get to choose who you're going to be in conversation with, and we'll do a fireside chat, and we're going to ask you to come out here a few days early because it's pretty remote, and especially because it's winter. It could be flight delays are a thing, which happened to me. I was supposed to be on the East Coast several days before, and that got canceled because of the blizzard. And whatever. I mean, that's the stuff like that is bound to happen. I ended up flying directly from LA to Vermont, which was an interest. I don't know how many people do that route
Whoa,
regularly.
yeah, it just registered with me. LA to Vermont. That's a
Well,
direct
there was
flight.
when I say directly, I mean like without going to New York or New Jersey, which had
Oh.
been the original plan.
Mhm, mhm.
I changed planes in Michigan, and it is just, it's funny how, having grown up on the East Coast, of course I know what winter is, and I'm very aware of it, but being in this privileged Southern California bubble where right now it's, 75 degrees, and this is actually like too hot to be wearing at the moment, and I'm looking out at blue skies, like, you just don't really, like, you know that there's other stuff happening, in like other weather and other like
Yeah,
annoyances, to say the least, that people are dealing with as you're flying through, Michigan and Kansas and New York and into Vermont, and like, it just doesn't really hit you until you're tromping through the snow and it's flying into your face and you're watching, cars trying to merge in a blizzard, and you're like, "Oh yeah, okay, this is why it's not that easy to go places." But
yeah. There's a
made it.
real yeah, I mean, that's great that you made there's a real, I don't know what the word is, like, just appreciation for non-planning that occurs when you live in, like, a place like California or Southern California where, like, I don't think it's like looking at the weather in the morning was sort of, like, unnecessary because generally speaking, you're gonna wear something, probably need a layer if you're gonna be out all day, like a light layer, but then, like, that's it. And you don't realize how things like planning your clothing, planning how you're going to get somewhere, figuring out if the thing that you're trying to get to is still happening, like how this is stuff that has to be done on a daily basis. When you live in areas with that aren't so temperate and like, yeah, like just the process. I like look back on college and I'm like, what did we I'm like, I don't know what boots I owned. Like, I keep looking. I'm like, what did I wear? What? Because I
Oh,
don't
either.
remember having like. Obviously, we had to have certain gear, and I clearly have gotten rid of all of it. But
We must have had
yeah,
legit snow boots because, yeah, you would like wake up and suddenly there'd be 17 inches of snow outside and you'd have class in half an
Yeah.
hour. And how else were you going to get there? That's so funny. Yeah. I don't remember that at all either. I don't
I'm
even even the notion of like icing off my car and backing out of a parking spot and like in the
yeah.
snow, like I actually did that. I don't it doesn't make sense to me now because I was complaining to you over text like it's all amazing but like I forgot how long it takes to like even it's just like the wardrobe. You want to leave your very cozy, beautiful cottage with the fireplaces and everything is just warm and lovely and go outside where it's also lovely, but in a cold and brisk way. And the ground is completely covered in snow. So I'm putting on snow boots that they thankfully had for us to borrow because, me being again the girl from California who's like, I'm just gonna bring my Prada boots and like I'll just wear those everywhere. Like, yeah, stupid. That's like,
I
no, I
love how
wore
you
them.
are now the girl from California. Like, I love how this is now your identity, even though you are like a born and bred like New Jersey East
You're right.
Cal, but you are now
I
the girl from California. You've adopted that identity.
I don't know, maybe I need to I should probably lean into the New Jersey thing more. I think it would give me more street cred. Cause yeah, the whole like, oh no, I can't wear my Prada boots to walk down to the main lodge in the snow. Like, no, you idiot. That's not a good idea. um, but yeah, it just takes so much time to like put your feet into the boots and lace them up, and then you need the coat, and then you need the scarf and the gloves. Whereas here, I'm like, oh, I want to go I need an orange. I'm just gonna slide my feet into a pair of Birkenstocks and like get in the car and go, and I don't even like need a layer.
Yeah, well, and don't even and even once you figure out all of the gear and you get the gear, the actual act of like walking like in snow or on ice is
Mm.
like in and of itself its own kind of process. Like of course you need the right gear for it, but God, I remember in college especially like just the fear of falling. Like how like, in
Yeah.
certain conditions where you're just like barely shuffling, like it's going to take you 15 minutes to walk a block because you're like taking such small steps because it's so icy and like, God forbid you fall and land on your backpack with your laptop in it.
I
Whatever we should be
know.
afraid of. But yeah, but I'm glad you made it. And I'm glad they gave you the gear. And then it sounds like the conversation, like the event itself was really good.
The event itself was wonderful. My friend Avery, who I met through a writing group when we were working on our first novels, she moderated the conversation, and both of us brought our moms as our guest because
Aw.
yeah, it just, for my mom, it's still, she's still making the trip from New Jersey, but it's not quite as arduous as say coming from California or, for a long weekend, it's a little bit more doable. And of course the plan was for me to like come to New Jersey first and go with her together. But in any case, Avery and her mom live in Connecticut, and so it was it felt like a nice thing to do. It has a very it's definitely great for couples too. They actually don't allow kids, so it's not a family place, but, I do think for adults, whether it's, like, mother-daughter, you and your partner, I don't know. Do fathers I feel like fathers and sons don't really do unless there's, like, a sporting like golf or
Yeah.
shooting or something involved.
Stereotypically, yeah. But I think they should. And it sounds like this would be a cool place to
Fishing.
go. Yeah.
Maybe they
Like,
do fishing in the summer. Yeah, and then my very good friend Susan, who I worked with at ABC, when I was, like, 26, she and I used to sit in the newsroom next to each other, and she's more in my mom's generation, but she and I have remained close friends over the years, and she's met my mom too, and she brought her daughter who's around, my age and Avery's age, and the 6 of us had the best dinner on Saturday night after the talk. We, like, shut down the hotel restaurant. We were just when we decided to do a tasting menu. So the other thing about this place is that everything is included, like
mm,
all food, all wine, all cocktails, desserts, like they stuff you to the degree that you feel like you're gonna have to be rolled out of there. So we're sitting at the table, and I'm not normally these days, I'm not really like a tasting menu person. I don't generally have the patience for it. But Susan and her daughter are looking at it and they're like, I don't know when we're going to do a tasting menu again. This looks kind of cool. So maybe we'll do this and everyone else can like kind of do their own thing. And then the rest of us were like, no, let's do it. Let's go for
Right.
it.
Yeah.
And it was, when you're in the company of people where it's just, even if you all collectively haven't known each other for that long, there's just this spirit of like sharing and like commonality. And there's a reason that you all elected to take time out of your lives and be here. And so
Mhm.
I don't know. It was just one of those dinners where you're like your cheeks hurt from laughing and you feel like I don't know. If the people who you weren't already friends with for life are now people that you would say like you had this
Yeah.
experience together and now you're friends for life. And it was really it was just so special. It was
I
like
love
a very
that.
life affirming tasting menu dinner.
Yeah, well, that's, like, when you think of, like, a slow meal, like, that is one of the beautiful things that can come out of it is just, like, good conversation and connecting. Tell me the name again of the place that you were at?
Twin Farms.
Twin Farms. Okay, I need to add that to my list. That sounds like a really good kind of, like, trip. A good spot to go if you wanna escape and be in a place that's, like, nature, but also food and art, kind of the best of all the things.
Exactly. Incredible spa. They have a really great onsen too.
Ooh.
One of the former owners was a big Japanese art collector and culture enthusiast and made a lot of trips to Japan. So built an on-site onsen. And it's totally private. So you basically book it out like and you're not paying anything extra if you're a guest there, but you have it to yourself for that hour or you and your particular group if you're going with other people. And yeah, it's just really
Oh, sounds so
lovely.
nice. That sounds
So yeah,
lovely.
future
Okay.
foliage trip. I'd love to go there during the fall.
Yeah. I don't think I've ever been to Vermont. So, yeah, adding that to
Add it
the
to the
list.
list.
Yeah, adding it to the list. What is something that you are loving?
What am I loving right now? I'm looking back at our text. I can't even. What did I say? I know.
Oh,
Oh,
your light,
oh yes,
your
my little
book
booklight.
light. Yeah, do
I
you
should
have
have
it?
brought it down.
Oh,
No, it's
well,
upstairs.
we can link to it in the show notes.
I'll link to it. It doesn't look like anything special, but in my renaissance of physical book reading, the reason that I had gravitated to the Kindle for so long is because I always read in bed before going to sleep, and if you have if you're in bed with someone else and your partner doesn't, or like if you don't have a lighting situation, you can't really do that. And I do sometimes stay up later than Nick Hill reading, and I don't know, I just wanted whatever. It was easy to have a Kindle, but now that I've switched back to regular books, I don't I also haven't really found like a bedside lamp that I'd love for reading, but I found this little like clip-on book light on Amazon. It's like, I don't know, $11 maybe not even that much. There are a few different models, but it has different dim settings, different light settings itself if you like cool light or warm light or like there's one that's like kind of like a pinkish hue. Rechargeable, super easy, like, these things I know have existed for a really long time, but, I am just discovering them now, and it's life-changing,
Yeah.
especially because my other habit is, the first thing in the morning before looking at my phone, before even, like, opening my journal or anything, I'll read a few pages of whatever it is that I happen to be whatever book I'm reading at the moment, and to do that with this light, especially in the dark, because I don't want to, like, first thing assault my eyes with super bright light if I'm waking up before it's bright out, which is generally the case, and yeah, it's really great for that. Great on
Yeah.
planes too.
That's awesome. I definitely need to invest in something like that because I also feel like it's just like one of these things of having the tool that makes the habit like easier to actually execute. Like, if you don't have it, then you're like, "Oh, maybe I won't read. I don't wanna, like, turn on the light and wake Nickel up," or whatever, and it could actually, like, result in you not doing it. So since you have it now, like, yeah, I'll need to get one of those because the light that I have next to my bed is, like, way too bright to have on. So yeah, I need something, like, smaller. Although right now I recently for the over the holidays, got a Kindle, so but I still have hard copy books that I use.
Ooh, is it the new I know that there have been
Not
several
the
generations.
color. Yeah, it's not the color one. I think that was the most recent one, but it's the one I got right before that. Um, so yeah, but I alternate. So I think like having a little light like that would be very valuable. So I'm gonna look at the link that you post.
Yes, yes. I'm also a big believer in that. There are times where Kindle is the most appropriate thing or it's just the easiest, like especially if you're traveling and you don't have a lot of room to take a bunch
Totally.
of books, like I better than nothing for sure. And also just very convenient because it's this one device. And I also think for me better than an iPad because if I were trying to read on an iPad, I
You
would
get
do
distracted.
800 different things besides reading. So,
Yeah, and I think, like, when you go through, like, moving, you start to realize that books are such a pain to deal with moves, because they just take up so much space, and then you start to think about, like, am I gonna read this again? Do I really need a hard copy of this? Like, should I just donate it? That's the whole process. So, yeah, there's definitely some convenience with a Kindle.
tell me about your audio-free walks.
Yeah, they're like kind of a new thing. So I shouldn't like act like this is something I've been doing forever, but I have recently, just like in an effort to like get outside more because the weather is good, but also, just like give myself a break from content. I've just been going for walks. I usually have my headphones in, but I'm not always listening to anything, or sometimes I'm listening to just
Yeah.
like instrumental music, but, like, really my mind for the 45 minutes or however long I'm out there is just, like, wandering, and it's really, like, an interesting practice, like, it's interesting for me this kind of happens in the shower too, but it's, like, interesting to, like, see, like, observe what it is that your mind thinks about when you aren't being, like, immersed in something, like, if you're not on a call or you're not looking at your computer or your TV or your
Yeah.
phone or you're not listening to, like, an audiobook or a podcast, like, where does your mind, like, naturally wander? And yeah, it's been, like, really kind of fun, like, it's been in some ways, like, it's like a healthy, like, sort of almost like a body scanning, like a mind scanning habit to say like, okay, like these top thoughts about these topics like keep coming up. So like, okay, clearly there's some
Mm.
stress about that. But separately than that, like there's just this beautiful thing about kind of feeling kind of bored in a way. Like um I think that's kind of what can spark creativity and thinking about, like, oh, do I have this like new concept that I want to incorporate at work? Or is there this new thing I want to try in my personal life? Or just, yeah. And I, I've really enjoyed it. I feel like we as a society are not meant to handle the volume of content that we are like exposed to. And like I fall under the trap of feeling pressure to like keep up with content. Like one of the things, ironically enough with the platform with which I'm saying this is that like I've never consumed a ton of podcasts. Like there are people who like podcasting is their thing on their commutes, like while they're doing the dishes, whatever it is. And that's just like never been me. And I've almost felt like I wouldn't say shame, but I felt like a FOMO from it a bit of like, oh, like, I don't actually have like this like podcast that I haven't listened to this specific podcast that everyone's talking about, or I don't have the podcast that I'm like a regular kind of follower of. Um, and so I think there was a part of me that feels like, oh, going for walks is like the right time to listen to podcasts. But no, it turns out that my mind just wants to like not listen and focus. It just wants to like go on its own journey. So I've been really loving it. And I feel like even for like 10 minutes, just going for a walk, even just like pacing around your apartment, but like not not listening to anything and just kind of seeing where your mind goes is a cool practice.
It really is, and it's funny. It was funny when you texted and said that that was something you wanted to talk about because one of the things that I have been thinking about, especially since Twin Farms, is the idea of being in nature and just listening to the sounds around you. And by nature, I don't mean like okay, you have to be in the middle of the woods, like being on a city street, being in a subway car, being like in the grocery store, whatever it is, like the natural sounds around. And actually this morning there's a story in I think it's the New York Times magazine about like embracing like the racket of other people. In essence, like how when you just have headphones in all the time, you're missing the world around you.
Hmm.
And for better or for worse, like, yeah, there might be people on FaceTime calls or just playing music off their phone and with no regard to who is listening, but that's still the world that you live in. And if you just keep choosing to cloister yourself from it all the time, then like what exactly are you experiencing? So there's
Yeah.
that part of it, but then also I brought back Twin Farms because one of the servers that I met there talked about how she moved to Vermont because she really wanted to be surrounded by nature and to go every morning into the woods and listen to what the trees had to say and listen to the bird song and just sit quietly and just sit there and listen. And yes, listen, you can interpret that as super hippy dippy and oh my God, that's out of Portlandia. But it's like this is clearly working for you because
Yeah. What is that? Sounds like a
yeah.
dream. Oh, that sounds like a dream.
I know.
Yeah. I mean, there's also a concept of like presence that is formed when your senses are like active, like how easy it is if you have your headphones in to like be less observant of the things around you. And yeah, like just the simple act of like not having headphones in or not listening to something else and having your mind kind of distracted by what you're listening to, like probably will cause you to like see and hear things on your journey, on your walk, wherever you are on your hike that like you wouldn't otherwise. And yeah, it creates like a lot more of that presence. Yeah, the idea that you could go on like a hike or a walk or a bike ride every day and not necessarily know that there are certain birds like every day in certain trees that always like, make the same sound, like because you're always distracted. Kind of sad. So yeah, I really like it. We'll see how long I keep up with it, but it's been fun to do. I don't always do it the entire time, but trying to
Of
do at
course.
least, 10 minutes or so of my walk, like completely just audio free has been really cool.
Well, it's like it's a balance like anything else, and I think it's also okay. I completely just lost track of what I was going to say. I had some really salient point, and there you go. I mean, maybe it's because yeah,
Are
like
you
it went.
distracted?
Yeah, exactly. I'm trying to distract myself too much, but no, something about the yeah, information overload. We're definitely not meant to consume and hear and accumulate as much information as we do. Um and I don't know. I don't know. It'll come
Yeah.
back to me.
Well, when it
Whatever.
comes back to you, yes, you can share it. Share it either on the podcast or in notes. But yeah, I think you should try doing it next week and report back, or this week and report back.
I should. I should. It's really when it's tempting for me to be listening to an audiobook when I'm out. Oh, it was the idea of yeah, against, like, optimization, like, this sort of endless, the idea that we should always be, like, learning something new and educating ourselves and, like, use every waking moment to be better, and your own internal thoughts can't possibly be better than listening to a podcast about how you could, optimize your gut health or whatever it is, and no, it's like we don't necessarily need all of that data, and to
Yeah.
be able to let your mind wander and just see what happens is a lot more restorative sometimes than just packing it with more information about yet another topic that like you may not even be paying attention to. I don't know if you've had this I have this happen every afternoon when I have my lunch break with Gilmore Girls and there's a point at which like I'm done with lunch and I'm clearly like, I'm getting tired and I'm watching, Gilmore Girls is on, but then I'm also on my phone and then my computer is also open. And I'm like, what are we doing
What
here?
yeah, I'm not even paying attention. Yeah,
Yeah,
like, what's
like
going
we're close it all down. It's time to go meditate. Another very California thing to say.
on? Hey, I mean, I think that makes sense, though. That's a lot of stimulation. Also, like, I find myself doing that with TV where I'm like, "Wait, I need to rewind. I don't even know, what just
Yes.
happened." So, I get that.
Yes.
Um
And there's some like shows like I'm watching the new season of Vanderpump Rules, which is very
mm,
much one of those phone in hand shows that I don't necessarily it's like this is background noise. All of it is kind of background noise and it's fine. It's not like you need to be totally sat and yeah,
yeah,
like
focus.
100% attention.
Um,
Uh
yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
No, 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 it's fine. I was just looking up the name of the designer, one of the designers that we're gonna discuss as
Yeah.
our topic of discussion.
What is their name? Tell us about
Is
the topic. Introduce it. Introduce
let's start
it
with
to
the
us.
topic.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So this topic came to my mind actually while I think I was on the way to Twin Farms and London Fashion Week was going on and I was looking at some of the pictures that were coming out of it on Instagram and I was not aware of this label, Raw Mango, which is an Indian-based label. The designer's name is Sanjay Garg, and Indian luxury label established in 2008, based in New Delhi. Uh, it's funny because if you go on the designer's website, the Raw
Mhm.
Mango website, it looks like modern like saris and lengas and salwars, and it doesn't look like super out of the box, but this London Fashion Week show, I thought it was some of the coolest interpretations of it or yeah, I guess like riffs on like Indian clothing that I've seen. The whole show was built around the concept of the garland and the idea of how in India it's not you don't often see like a single flower or giving someone a single flower is not as common as like draping them with a garland of flowers. And they actually one of the pieces was this really kind of avant-garde U-shaped dress that looks as if it's made out of I guess like jasmine
Jasmine.
flowers,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah. Mhm.
I just, could I ever wear something like that? Like, jury's out, but I just think it's really cool and it makes me very that plus Bjork wearing this almost sea creature type of outfit at the Brit Awards that was done by Amit Agarwal I'm like, okay, there's like Indian fashion has been having a moment for a really long time. Um Especially, I mean, look, if we were talking about it writ large, of course, like incredible designers have been coming out of India for ages, for a very long time. But it feels like on a global stage in the past 10 years, the West is like, oh, wow, there's interesting stuff happening over there. And it's not just like Italy and Spain and France
Mhm.
and London. Like there's really great talent in Asia as well. But what I am liking about these two designers, and there are others like them, is that it's really playing with the sort of there's very little of the traditional sari, kind of motif in any of their works now. I
Mhm.
think some of the raw mango stuff has a little bit of that, but it's something that's entirely different, and it's very exciting to me.
Yeah. I the pictures you sent me that I'm sure you'll post, on Substack is they're really cool, and it makes sense, like, fashion, like, there's a wide range of fashion, and there's, daily wear, there's event wear, there's, like, avant-garde, items, like, I think about how I think a lot of people when they think Indian designers think saris, lehengas, salwar kameezes, like the traditional Indian garbs. And obviously, yes, that is a very specific to India, like niche of clothing that there are a lot of designers, including these designers, like who make those types of clothing. But just like any fashion, there's just such a wide range of creativity to express that it's cool to see more and more designers stepping out of kind of what's viewed as traditional Indian wear and just creating like interesting, beautiful pieces. And yeah, I love there was one of the raw mango pieces that was like, I don't know if it was a dress or just like a almost like a tank top, but it was like basically like draped jasmine garlands.
Yes, I
And
love that.
it was so pretty and so delicate. And yeah, I don't know, like, like, let's be real, I'm not getting invited to like anything where I could wear that and like actually you know, like fit in. I would like I'm not going to fancy events. But if I were being invited to like cool events, you know, art gallery openings, like, you know, special sort of events with like creative fashion choices are like embraced, I think that is like a beautiful thing to wear.
I 100%. I would, and I actually think that outfit you're talking about is a lot more in my mind where like I would wear that,
Wearable.
whereas
Mhm.
yeah, the other I think many other people should wear that
The
garland
you.
dress. I think I would
Mhm.
be personally very uncomfortable wearing it, but then we're not quite there yet. But yeah, I think it's when I think about the typical, would I wear this to an Indian wedding? Well, in the same way that I think about like Vegas being for this one thing, like New Orleans being like this kind of experience. When I think of Indian weddings, I'm like, oh, well, you're going to be like eating chicken tikka masala and you're going to be in a ballroom, like dancing until 2 o'clock in the morning and you're going to spill stuff all over those beautiful draping garlands. But that is the, 20 something Indian wedding in my mind. I have been to plenty of Indian weddings that did not devolve into that or didn't look like that. And this would be perfectly appropriate at them or yeah, at an art gallery opening or at like
At a cool
some
event.
kind of yes, exactly. An event that calls for an outfit like that. Um, I do think it's I'm really pleased to see that these designs and these designers are getting attention from a global audience because not that, India is a country of a billion people. We don't necessarily you don't need to have attention from people like us or non-Indian, non-South Asian people at all to be considered successful and impactful. But there is something I don't know, I feel very proud, like, being a Indian American person to see Indian designers, like, doing stuff that's outside of the box and not exactly what's expected of them.
Yeah, no, it's great. And so much fashion in general is inspired by India. Fashion created by non-Indian designers, that like everyone just loves. I mean, on a very basic level, if you go to a store like Anthropology or something, like I feel like probably 30% of their stuff is like sort of inspired by or made
Oh,
in
yeah.
India.
I
So
was
I
reading that all of, like, Fendi's baguettes, like, their handbags, the beaded ones they're all done in India by Indian artisans, and I think is it either Fendi or Prada? Like, some of these designers have actually made, like they've acknowledged this, and they've made it part of, what's it? Prada,
Yeah,
Fendi.
Prada I'm pretty sure Prada did, like, the Indian sandals, this past summer.
That's yes.
Ooh, a little problematic, but yeah, I think it's, high time that more Indian designers get, like, international attention.
Yeah, yeah, exactly, and it's like, of course, the jeweled lehengas and the mirror work and that those kind of centuries old, like, kinda handicrafts are very impressive, but so is this, like, you know, like like space age seahorse thing that that Amrutha Agarwal did for Bjork. I'm like, where does this even? It looks like she's from another planet.
It's so cool. I think Amit Agarwal did, Aarti wore Amit Agarwal's
She
design.
did.
Yeah, because I was like, this looks really familiar for her reception. Just
Oh, you're
really,
right.
yeah, like very cool, kind of like geometric um shapes and work. Yeah, it's very, very cool.
She's always been ahead of the game.
She's always been ahead of the game, that
Our
one.
fashionista. Yeah, I'm excited to see. I was talking with a friend earlier today who is an art gallerist, and he has Rajiv Menon. He has a gallery that showcases contemporary Indian art in
Hmm,
Hollywood. Next time you're here, we have to go.
sounds
It's
really
so
cool.
cool.
Hmm.
And he was in India for Indian Art Week. There were a whole bunch of Indian art weeks happening over, I think it was the course of the month of February. And I was following his pictures online, and then talking to him earlier, and I really want to go out there for that one day, because the contemporary art scene and the way that they're perhaps it has always been there, and it is only now on my radar, but it feels like a scene that is really thriving and has a lot of energy behind it, and a lot of people who want to consume and see and buy and, like, kind of participate in the industry of Indian art.
Hmm.
And that's really, yeah, it's stuff that I just, never knew about growing up, or if it existed, it was just completely a different world to me.
Yeah, I didn't even know, hadn't heard of like it. You said it was called Indian Art Week.
I think
I like
there were
that.
a few different Indian Art Week, India Art Week 2026. So, yes, there was a fair in Delhi from February 5th to 8th, but then there was also, I think it was the Kochi Biennial,
Mm.
and Marina Abramovic, who is this big performance artist, was down there for that. Yeah, the Kochi Missouri. Oh my gosh, I'm not pronouncing this correctly. It was a biennale going on through March 31st, in Kochi, India, and has 66 different artists, collectives, different
Wow.
locations. Yeah, it's really, and there was a bunch of stuff going on in Mumbai as well. Uh, it feels like there's a lot to discover there.
Yeah.
Fashion and art wise. You might have to make a field trip one of these days.
I feel like I definitely need to because I've never even been to Kochi, but I like the idea of like celebrating these artists is very cool. I definitely need to come to that art gallery
My
near you.
cousins are there in Kochi because my dad's
Oh,
family, yeah, is from Kerala. So, yeah, we'll have a place to
hang with
stay.
hang with the cousins. Yeah, that would be
Cousins.
fun.
That would be really fun. I know. Well, I do know a destination episode where we're both in the same room is in our future. Well,
We need to make that
dates
happen.
TBD, even
Yeah.
among us, but
Yeah.
it's gonna happen before
We can
long.
build the anticipation. We're making it happen. We're manifesting
That's right.
it.
That's right. Cool. Well, what's the rest of your week look like?
Uh, it's gonna be relatively chill, but kind of like catching up on things, the normal work, fun, all of that stuff. Nothing too. Oh, I have book club tomorrow, so yeah, it'll be a good week.
Fun.
Yeah.
Good
What about
stuff.
you?
I head to Ojai on Thursday. I'm one of the hosts of Ojai Food and Wine. I
Uh,
think I don't know if there are still tickets available, but I'll post a link. Yeah, it's gonna be a lot of fun. This is the third or I think it's the third time that it's happening, and the third time I've been involved, and I can't wait. It's such a
oh,
fun
that's gonna
weekend.
be so fun. Oh, it's gonna be lovely. It's at the Ojai in Spa. That's
It
what it's called.
is,
Okay,
exactly.
nice. That's gonna be lovely. And this time of year, I think, is when they have the orange blossoms.
It is when they have the orange. Yeah, this is, like, around the time that we first went there, isn't it?
Yeah. and it's like it's incredible. The only thing I've experienced like it is being in Sevilla around this time of year where like you just walk down and the fragrance. Like I think I remember driving we were driving like up the mountain to that one is it like a stupa or there's some like meditation
Oh,
mountain in
yeah,
Ojai.
Meditation Mound. That's
Yes.
right.
And I
That's
remember us
right.
driving with the windows down and smelling the flowers, like the orange blossoms as we drove up. It's like
That was
very,
so
very
fun.
impressed on my mind. Yeah. Ah, that's great. You're gonna have an amazing time.
Okay, you
Pay
thank you for
attention to it.
reminding me about the yes, yes, pay attention. Okay, we're gonna have some headphone-free, lots of at least one headphone-free walk,
Headphone
probably more.
free, windows down when you're driving. Yes, all of that.
Windows down driving.
Yeah.
Well, we'll
Great.
catch up about it next week.
Yes, we will. Hope you have a good rest of the week.
You too. Love you.
Love you. Bye.
Bye.